Lucked out with twins, as we require IVF to conceive. It took me the rest of my childhood and the better part of my 20s to get over what happened to me. I finally was able to heal, put it past me, and now for the past 5 years or so, I'm able to go months at a time without thinking about it. I had a closed adoption. I made it clear to the adoptive parents I wanted absolutely no contact whatsoever, and I never held the baby I gave away, something I do not regret to this day. I've avoided ever having social media, partially to avoid being found. In the beginning of September, I received a phone call from a private investigator letting me know my biological daughter wanted to meet me, and had hired him to track me down. I immediately made it clear I have no interest in contacting my biological daughter, and to please leave me alone. By the end of November, I had received multiple phone calls and letters from my biological daughter, begging me to meet her. I wrote her a letter in return, telling her I'm happy she's had a great life, but that I have no interest in contact. I made it clear, I will not stop her at all from reaching out to extended family. I won't be mad if she outs me as her biological mother and pursues a relationship with my relatives. She did reach out to my brother, who immediately blocked her on Facebook. I would prefer she didn't, but I don't think it's my place to keep her from doing so. On Tuesday, she showed up at my front door while I was at work. My husband answered and immediately told her to please leave, or he would have to call the police. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to explain to her in any other way that I do not want to meet her. I also don't want to be cruel. I don't view her as my daughter, as horrible as that sounds. I do wish her the best, but I have built a life I'm finally comfortable with. I don't want her to be part of it. If there is any insight any adoptees could provide on how I could explain this to her without having to just be brutally honest and also sparing her feelings. Or birth moms who have gone through a similar thing. Update 5 days later, I ended up writing my birth daughter another letter explaining to her the circumstances of her birth, and why I do not want contact with her. I also included a few watercolors I did with my grandmother while I was pregnant with her, and an extensive packet of information regarding family medical history. I overnight FedExed it to the address I had for her. Sadly, in the late hours of last night, she showed up at my house again, this time while I was home, and pounded on my front door, screaming. My husband and I tried to ignore it, but we got a phone call from out neighbors that they would call the police if we didn't answer our door or handle the situation, and I honestly didn't want to start Christmas Eve with getting someone clearly going through the thick of it arrested. My husband spoke to her via our home Ring doorbell thing. When this did not placate her, I literally barricaded myself in our bathroom, and he went out the back door, locking it, and then around the front to speak to her. I could hear him screaming at her, unpleasant, but apparently effective, because she finally left. This morning, I received a phone call from her adoptive parents apologizing to me, that they never fully disclosed how she was conceived, and that they helped fund the private investigator, which is how she found me, hoping it would lead to a more happy reunion. What they did tell me they told her, was that she was the result of SA. What they lied to her about was that it was my parents who made me give her away, and that I always loved her, chose life, and wanted to keep her if I had been older. Those were all lies, and it seems she received a similar very religious upbringing, that I did. I ended up agreeing to speak with her on the phone, facilitated by her birth parents, if she understood that now she has to leave me alone, or I will pursue legal advice, and will not hesitate to call the police if she were to ever come to my home ever again. I was very blunt with her, because I felt that she's already been lied to 100 times. It probably would have been better to do the conversation through a therapist, but honestly I'm just happy it's over.